up, y'all? Welcome back to Kelsey's Corner. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a DIY incubator build for ball python eggs. I've been waiting to do this build for a few weeks now. I finally have everything I need to do it. Chances are if you're watching this, you're looking to do it on your own, so I'm going to bring you step by step through the entire process from beginning to end. We're going to go through everything you'll need, and then I'll show you how to do all of it so that you can do it for yourself. It's a pretty simple process, but you do want to make sure you follow each step. If you do anything wrong, then you do run the risk of your ball python eggs not surviving. So first I'll show you everything you need, and then we'll get right into it. So obviously the first thing you're going to need is a mini fridge or some sort of wine cooler. I couldn't find a wine cooler, so I ended up with this. I got it from a flea market for $25. Again, this is going to be a really cost-effective option for you if you're not looking to spend like $500 on an already done incubator. So I got this for 25 bucks. Whatever you end up getting, whether it's a mini fridge or a wine cooler, just make sure that the seal is good and not cracked or hard. It should be soft. And then when you close the door, you should be able to pull on it and it doesn't just swing open. You want it to have a good seal because that's what's going to actually incubate your eggs. Obviously, you want to have a couple of shelves in here. A lot of times a wine cooler will have a light in here, so there's no light in here, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. And then this only came with one shelf, so I have an extra shelf that I found that was used for something else that I'm going to attach in here, and then I'll have to get one more. This will fit 6 boxes. So I'm going to have 3 shelves. They'll fit 2 boxes each, and I will show you how I'm going to screw that in. And then I'll just need one more shelf. Alright, first thing you're going to need is a drill. This is not the drill I use to put a hole in this mini fridge, but you will need a high-powered drill that can drill through metal and insulation, but I'm going to be using this to put another shelf in, so that's why I have it out. But you will need to put a hole in here, and I'll show you all that in just a second. So then, you're going to need heat tape. This is Flex Watt heat tape. You can buy it online. You can usually get it at a Reptile Expo. When you buy it online, or they should have it at a show as well, it will come with all the hardware for it. So I'll show you a close-up of that in just a second. Pliers for the heat tape. This is aluminum full tape, metal tape. You're going to want this because any other kind of tape that you use is going to melt inside. You're going to use this to attach the heat tape to the wall. So any other tape that you try to use is going to get all nasty and icky, is going to be really difficult to work with. So you want metal tape because that's going to keep it from overheating and all that good stuff. Obviously you're going to want some bins for whenever you're going to be doing incubation, and the most important thing that you're going to need is a thermostat. This is the one I'm going to be using. Some people recommend the, what's it called? I think it's Vivarium Electronics. They have a VE200 that a lot of people use. Unfortunately, I don't have $200 to spend on one of these. So this I got, it's a $35 thermostat. I got it for like 20 bucks at a flea market or something like that. Never been opened or anything. I've tested it and it works. When you're incubating eggs, you do run the chance of defects or having snakes die or eggs go moldy, all that kind of stuff if the temperatures aren't right. So this is absolutely necessary. Okay, so this is what's going to come with your heat tape, or what should come with it. Obviously your wire with your plug, and it should look like this. If it doesn't look like this, just get you some wire strippers and you can do it yourself. And then this is the other stuff that it should come with. So this is going to be for the actual copper wire, and then these little insulators are going to sit right over this, and it's going to protect it so you don't electrocute yourself. But I'll show you all that when we get to it. So I just want to say real quick before I back the camera up to show you the full picture, when you cut this to size, you cut in between the black. So the black is where the electricity and the heat is conducted between the metal strips here. So whenever you cut this, always cut on the white in between wherever the heat and electricity flows. Alright, so the first thing you want to do before you even get started on this is clean it. I've already done that. I'm using this little handheld light because the fluorescent light in here is messed up and you can't see anything. So here is the hole that I drilled in the top of it already. So you can see it's about 1/2 inch, so you want to have a high-powered drill that can drill through metal if yours is metal. This is plastic and insulation on the top, so it was pretty easy, but you want to go ahead and drill a hole before you get started on anything. And the second thing, before you buy your heat tape, make sure you measure in here wherever you're going to end up putting it. I think I'm going to try to take this freezer piece out because that'll give me way more room, and then I can fit 8 in here instead of 6. So I'm going to measure from the top. Alright, so we're at 38 inches. I went ahead and took this little thing out. It was just sitting right here because that's just going to block the tape where it's going to go. So again, when you're cutting this, make sure you cut in between. I went and started my cut so I don't forget where it's at. cut in between the black because that's where the heat is actually being conducted from the metal strip. Okay, so I was just trying to unscrew this to take this piece off, and I just realized that this is where the Freon is coming in. So I'm not going to be able to take that out right now. At a later point, if I find someone who can help me with it, because I honestly don't know what I'm doing with that kind of stuff, like electrical and the actual mini fridge part. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to leave this alone for now. This is plenty big enough for how many clutches I'm going to have this year, so I'm just going to leave it and we will do everything else as normal. So once you've cut your heat tape to size, you're going to want to take the wires that come with it. You're going to take these little metal clasps and you're going to insert them into the small part of this little wire, just like that. And then you're going to use pliers to crimp it around it. But don't close this part. This part is going to go over the actual heat tape. Okay, for some reason my camera cut off, but what I was saying was once you get the wires crimped together right here, you can bend them back so that they're not laying on the prong part. You've got like a nice clean little look there. And then you do the same thing to the other side. Alright, so once you have that done, there's a little slit right here on the top of it, and you're just going to slide that in. You're going to crimp the teeth over the metal part so that it grabs it. This is way harder than it looks, by the way. And then that's what it'll look like once you're done. So, once you do that, then you're going to take these little clips and they just snap together. And then you're going to put it the other way, not that way, directly over, small end over the metal, just like that. So now, if you touch this, you won't get electrocuted. Now we're protected. So if y'all are observant, you may have noticed that I just put that whole thing together and I can't fit the plug through the hole. So I just had to undo these little tabs and feed this part through the hole and then reattach it. So don't make that mistake. Make sure you feed it through the hole before you do that. So now that I have this fed through the hole and connected to the heat tape, I am going to attach it to the back of the wall. And this tape is not like regular tape, it has a backing to it, so it just comes right off and then you just peel the metal part off of the back. I'm going to cut it in sections as I go because I want to make it a little bit easier for me. So I'll cut a small piece for the top there to hold that in place. So this is the finished product. Goes all the way up, and then pull this through. Okay, we've got minimal wiring in here. Everything's insulated. Everything's taped down really good. So now I'm going to screw in a couple of screws right here and right here so that I can fit that metal rack in there because it is a tad bit too short on one side, so won't stay. I'll screw in a couple of screws and then I'll have to find another shelf to go in for the third shelf. But like I said, I'm only going to have 2, maybe 3 clutches this year, so I'm not that concerned about it right now. But next year definitely we'll have more snakes ready to breed, so if I still have this next year, then I definitely am going to need more shelves. So now I have my screws put in for the secondary shelf. So now I can fit 2 bins on each side here, and I can fit 2 bins on each side here. So really, this will be holding 4 for me until I can get this taken off. This is going to be perfect for this year, and I will show you the next steps now. Alright, so your next step is to plug the heat tape into the thermostat. When you plug it in, it's going to give you the temperature that it's at now for the probe. So you push the set button and then you keep hitting it until it's at the desired temperature. This thermostat tops out at 122, so you just hit the set button and then you hold it down to whatever temperature you want it at and it'll go fast. I'm going to set this to 89 degrees. And then when you're done, hit mode and it'll start heating. So whatever temperature the probe is at is where this will stop heating. So you're going to feed this through the hole. When you have eggs in here, you're going to put the probe into the middle level inside the egg box. So we're going to put this probe in the middle here, and since I don't have any eggs in here to incubate, I'm just going to lay it here. And this is for me to test it out for a week or two and make sure everything's good. So when you have an incubator with the thermostat, sometimes you have power outages. A lot of people will put water bottles in here to fill in empty space. So if you do have a power outage, then the water bottles will help hold that heat in for you. So if it's hours long, then your eggs will stay pretty much the same temperature until it comes back on. But that's a nice little insurance thing you can do, is keep water bottles in there. So I'm just going to leave it like this, and then I'm going to shut this door and I'm going to let it heat up. And like I said, I'm going to leave this for a few weeks to make sure everything is good with it. I am going to go ahead and probably put some water in here just because I want it to stay heated and everything, and then when I do have eggs I can just pop them right in there and fill the water bottles in around it, so everything will be good. So when you open the door, like this doesn't have a glass door, so having the water bottles in there is going to be particularly helpful for me, because if I want to check on the eggs and I need to open the door, all that hot air isn't going to rush out. The water bottles will help keep the temperature in here while I have the door open. And obviously for this to work correctly, you have to plug the heat tape into the thermostat. Alright, so now we're all set up. I got the heat tape plugged in, I got the probe inside of there, and I'm also going to fill in this hole so that heat doesn't escape out of here, just with some silicone or something, but it'll be fine for now to let it heat up, and that's pretty much it. So I've got this all set up now. Like I said, I'm going to leave it for a couple of weeks, make sure everything's good with it, make sure the temperature is able to stay consistent, because the last thing I want is to have eggs and my incubator's not working properly. So that's why I'm setting it up early. I am going to be pairing in the next couple of weeks here, and then from that point it'll be however long until I have eggs. So could be a month, could be 2 months, depending on when my boys are ready. So one of them is about 50 grams away from being ready, then I can start pairing him, and we'll just see how it goes. So anywhere from a month to 2 months I should have some eggs to put in here. Alright y'all, so I had to go out and run some errands. I left this running and I came back and it was not working. So I'm going to do a little bit of troubleshooting. The mistake that I made was not plugging this in before I taped it all and set it all up. So I should have plugged it in to make sure that the heat tape worked, so definitely do that. So what I've already done, and this is unplugged already, what I've already done was swapped these two sides. Someone recommended that to me. I don't think there's a positive and negative side to this. I think they're both exactly the same. It's just wires to metal to metal. So I tried it just for giggles, but obviously it didn't work. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if it's the wire that's bad or if it's the tape that's bad. I have this piece of scrap tape that this is a piece that's off of another rack that I have, so I know that this tape works. So I'm going to take this and plug it into this and see if this heats up, and if it doesn't, then I'm going to know that it's the wire and not the tape. Alright, so it's been like 20 minutes and this little scrap of heat tape is not heating up, so I'm guessing that I got bad wires. So I'm going to have to replace the wires and hopefully that'll help. But at least you got to see the whole build, and at least you got to learn a couple of things about things not to do. So make sure you test the heat tape before you tape it to the back. That'll save you a step. Make sure before you connect the heat tape to the wire, feed it through the hole. Those are the two things that I did wrong. And then I also still have to add a fan in here whenever that comes in the mail. It was supposed to be here already, but I'll be adding fan to this whenever it comes. I'll probably stick it right here. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, and it's supposed to go smoothly, but... So this is why I wanted to do my incubator early, before I have snakes that are gravid. So I went ahead and I tested this little piece of heat tape out, which I know works. So I'm guessing I got bad wires, because this isn't working. I'll have to get some new wires for this, and hopefully that's the only problem that I'm having. But I'm glad y'all got to see a couple of mistakes I made, so you can avoid doing that for yourselves. So I will order a new wire, and I'm also still waiting for the fan to come. So I'll mount that in here as well, and then hopefully everything will be smooth sailing from there. Obviously, I've never done this before, so I made a couple of mistakes, but hopefully this will help you learn from them and not do the same thing that I did, because all it does is take up more time. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful to you. If I left anything out, please let me know. Comment it down below. If you like the video, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you love snakes. I come out with new videos every single week. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. It's Kelsey's Corner Friends, and I'll see y'all next time.